The Struth TLC has finally dropped, and so have a handful of other changes and fixes alongside it. This video will cover the top 3 most important changes, not including anything from the Struth TLC itself, because there are some major changes to game mechanics that dropped that I want to highlight today instead. So here are the top 3 things you need to know about the most recent patch. At number 3, we have Directional Attacks. Directional Attacks have finally been added to the game, but so far, Kentro is the only dino to receive them. After testing this new feature out a little, it seems cool, but I'm not sure how useful it's going to be on something as small as Kentro. I can see this being much more useful on something like Steg or Anno. I was also concerned that these new directional changes might result in users frequently attacking on the wrong side of their dino. The simplest way I found to figure out exactly where your attacks are going to land is to look at where your head is pointing, not your camera. Sometimes you can spin your camera around faster than your head will move, resulting in some potential confusion about where your tail might swing. But I found watching the head of your dino to be the easiest way to see which side you'll be attacking on. It's a much more reliable way to tell rather than just using your camera angle. At number 2, we have auto-run fixes. The auto-run bug was the bane of many dinos last patch, and finally, a long-awaited fix has arrived, sort of. The new auto-run system is definitely better than the bugged version, but it's still a lot worse than how it used to be before it was bugged. The new auto-run can only be cancelled by either re-triggering the auto-run key or by using your menu button, for example, the escape key on PC. This is an annoying change because all you had to do previously was press a movement key and you had full control back. Now you'll have to specifically do one of these 2 cancellation methods or you'll be stuck auto-running. You also still cannot auto-trot without holding down a button, which is frustrating. However, there is a new indicator to show when auto-run is toggled on right below your minimap, so this should lead to a bit less confusion about whether auto-run is active or not. The other good change about the new auto-run system is that you can move your camera freely around while running, which you couldn't do previously. You now steer using strafe instead of camera direction. Overall, though, I still feel like this is mostly a step backwards from the original auto-run system. Before we get to number 1, I want to slide in a few honorable mentions. Here are a handful of small quality of life changes that flew under the radar this patch. Berries can now be picked up and carried away from bushes, just like how you can pick up and carry away chunks of meat from a corpse. I've been wanting this change for years, so I'm happy herbivores can also benefit from a food delivery service now as well. Several abilities receive new icons, which is a nice touch. Ability icons are often recycled and used multiple times for completely different abilities in this game, so getting some new unique icons is always a welcome change. There is now a status effect that shows when you are wet and how long you will be wet for. This is a nice change to make it extra clear when you might be taking additional damage from abilities like Drench Blows or not. I have a feeling we'll be getting some more abilities based around whether or not your dino is wet in the future. And at number 1, we have the changes to the Pounce mechanic. As most of you may know by now, latched dinos can no longer take damage from the dino they are latched onto. This change is actually listed under general fixes, which would suggest that being able to bite attackers off your back was actually never an intended mechanic. This is a huge, controversial change, as it fundamentally alters how the game is played. Now, raptors will only have to worry about taking damage from other nearby dinos defending the player they are pounced on, which means that, yet again, group players will have another natural advantage over solo players. I'm not sure why they made this change without adding another way for solo players to defend themselves against being pounced. I would love to see a mechanic where you could knock off pounced dinos by rubbing into trees or rocks that you sprint by. Or perhaps they could make a mechanic where you could roll on the ground to instantly knock a pouncer off, but while you're down, you'd take double damage as if you were first stage resting. But either way, I really feel like solo players need a better way to play around being pounced, because with the new changes, there's just not much you can do to fight back if you're alone. So there you have it, my top 3 most important changes in the Struth TLC update. I hope you all found this helpful. We're currently on the road to 4K subscribers, so if you find yourself coming back to watch my content and aren't currently subscribed, consider doing so. I've been your host Conware, thanks for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.